Hey everybody, it's Matt Shu from Upright Health, and in this video we're going to talk about body signals. How do you know what's a safe exercise? How do you know what stretch you should be doing? How do you know when you're about to hurt yourself? This is a question that I got from Shane Matthews, who was watching my video about how to fix your hunchback neck, your nerd neck, your forward head posture. And in that video, I talked about listening to your body's signals when you're doing new exercises. You want to listen to your body's signals so you make good decisions about how hard to push, how much to do, whether you should take a day off. And so Shane is asking, how do I know how to interpret signals? Like I'm not like a doctor, so how could I possibly know when what I'm doing is good for me? So this is an awesome question, so thank you, Shane, for asking it. It can feel very daunting to approach your body and start listening to your body's signals. So you are taught from a very young age to ignore your body's signals. What do I mean by signals, and what do I mean by you're ignoring them? Think back to when you're about 6 years old and you started going to grade school and you're sitting in class and you're feeling really fidgety and your teacher says you should stop moving. And as you get older, you are told more and more and more that you should quit fidgeting and just shut up and sit in your desk. Even though you just have this awkward notion, this internal sensation that maybe you shouldn't just be locked into one position for the entire day. But at least you have recess, so you get outside, you play, you have fun, you feel alive, and then you go right back into your desk and sit there for a few hours and you fidget, but you learn to ignore the desire to move so that you don't get in trouble, so the teacher doesn't single you out, so you are able to focus and do your work in front of you and eventually develop nearsightedness and need contact lenses and corrective lenses. Coming back to this, there are signals that you need to move. And those signals are either pain, it could be numbness, it could just be a general sense of restlessness. Those are just simple body signals. Other body signals might be hunger, right? Pain is just the most obvious one we all experience. It's a signal. Now, what I'm asking everybody to do, what I suggest everybody do, is start to understand the different words that your body uses. So these signals that you get have different meanings. They have a different tenor. They have a different tone that you want to get used to hearing and receiving and then reacting appropriately to. Most people who have not really paid attention to their bodies for most of their lives really find this to be a struggle, and that's normal because it's a skill you haven't developed. So I want you to think about this. You know for sure, if you felt a burning sense, like you're in the kitchen and you were cooking something and you grabbed a hot pan, there's a signal. You would know exactly what to do with that signal, and it's let go of the freaking hot pan because, ow, everything is burning hot. Likewise, there are other signals that are not as urgent. They don't tell you so clearly, like, you gotta absolutely 100% stop this all the time, right? Like, we get other signals. We have different grades of signals that we want to start hearing. Okay, so what's an example? One example is like a low grade example would be like if I were just like sleeping on my arm, right? I'd probably like move a little bit when it starts to, sorry, I said sleeping, but I meant lying down. I'm like lying down on my arm, watching TV, watching Netflix, whatever, maybe Black Mirror or something. And my arm starts to go a little bit numb. My hand starts to go a little bit numb. That's a signal that, hey, if I had no experience in life, I might not know how to interpret that, right? Like, things are going numb. Is it cancer? I don't know, maybe I got cancer tonight, right? That if I have no context, if I have no experience understanding that numbness can be caused by how I position my body, it can be very scary, and it can easily leap to crazy self-diagnoses or diagnoses that, you know, I might find on WebMD, like, oh, my hand's going numb, it must mean that I have, you know, whatever. So that's just a simple example of A body signal. Okay, now when you're stretching, when you're exercising, there are some really clear signals that you need to be paying attention to. The one that a lot of people are very familiar with is the one that makes you feel like, or you think in your head, like something is tearing, right? So you're stretching something and it feels awful. It just feels like, oh my God, like I'm tearing a muscle. That's a signal that you want to learn to understand and to attenuate, meaning, play with it, weaken it a little bit so it's a more tolerable feeling, and to understand what it means and what you can do with it. So a lot of times in stretching practices, you hear people say stuff like, oh, like, it's okay, that stretching tearing sensation is great, keep going. The problem is sometimes if you keep going and keep pushing through that sensation, which for most human beings feels like a warning for good reason, if you keep pushing through that sensation, you will get to the next sensation, which is, oh my God, I just really hurt something, or oh my God, I'm gonna die. Okay, so if you have the internal sensation that, oh my God, this is like really not good for me, like it's about to tear, and you're wincing and pain and all this stuff, it's probably not that great for you. You should probably find some way to adjust the exercise, adjust the stretch. Now, that would be different from getting a sense, like more poetically, of I'm going to die because this muscle is so fatigued. So you need to draw some distinctions about context in how you feel your muscles in certain situations, right? So let's say I was just doing like a whole bunch of lateral raises. I keep going, it feels fine, there's no tearing, there's no crunching, my range of motion feels good, whatever. But then I'm holding a, 10-pound weight, and I start to feel the muscle here that's working, the deltoids, get really tired. Oh my God, I can't do anymore. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm gonna die. And I've got Arnold Schwarzenegger shouting in my face, you've got to do 3 more. Okay, I'm gonna die. I can't do this. There's a different type of feeling when it's like, oh my God, I'm so tired I can't do anymore, versus, oh my God, I'm at the end of my range of motion and I shouldn't go any further. So one is, I feel like, inherently more dangerous than the other, right? If you're pushing beyond the available length and strength of a muscle, you are asking to hurt yourself. And you just need to learn to listen to your body. That signal, if you feel it and you're like, I think I can't go further, maybe I need to do something, like, then you're right? Yeah, learn to listen to that and accept that, respect that, and work within your range, learning to contract the muscle at length, which I will link to a video down below. So if you're at all confused about how to contract muscles while you're stretching, then I will link to a video down below that you should watch. Okay, it's going to explain that. The idea is to build strength at length. Okay, so if you're ever stretching and you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to die, it's going to tear, then you need to listen to that. Also, if you get the distinct sensation, the distinct feeling like I am like smashing something and pinching something really badly, then you need to adjust how you're approaching that exercise, change the angle. You need to figure out if you can contract some muscles at a slightly different way, or maybe there's muscles on another side of that same joint that need to be stronger or stretched. You need to be experimental. Just because you feel that pinch or a jam doesn't mean that your bones are like colliding and hurting and cracking and tearing or whatever you may be imagining is happening. What it does mean is that the actual joint motion, the arthrokinematics are messed up. Some of the muscles may not know how to control the motion that you're asking for. And if that's the case, all you need to do is figure out which muscles need help. Maybe you need to reposition something. It could be a number of things, but you want to be open and creative to the possibility that you can solve it, rather than just going like, oh, it hurts, I'm damaged forever. That must mean I'm damaged forever. That is not a productive interpretation of your body's signals. It's like saying, oh my God, I'm hungry again. I was hungry yesterday. My stomach must have cancer because I fed it yesterday. That's not how the body works. Muscles need the food of movement, and they need nutritious movement. Thank you, Katie Bowman. If you haven't heard of Katie Bowman, description box, because she's awesome. One of my favorite authors who writes about the human body. Definitely check out her books. Anyway, nutritious movement is an idea I think she coined. It's basically you got to feed your muscles. You got to feed them good motion, good movement that keeps them feeling healthy. Okay? So then how do we tell the difference between what is a signal of weakness and just stiffness and tightness versus what's a dangerous signal? The answer to that is the dangerous signals and the signals of weakness and stiffness, those are not actually different. In my mind, I like to think of those as just signals that exist on a gradient. And ultimately, when we're talking about doing exercise, movement, stretches, and you're trying to differentiate between dangerous and is this just stiff or tight, it's all the same, right? If you're weak and you have poor muscle function, you're going to feel it in different ways depending on the position you're going in and depending on how hard and how fast you're trying to push something. And if you feel something that makes you internally go, woo, I don't think I should be doing this, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. And that is how you learn to respect your body. If you are doing something intensely and you have the distinct sensation that you really shouldn't be doing it this hard, you probably shouldn't be doing it that hard. The problem I think some people will run into is people who can get super into their brains and kind of go mind over matter. This is really common with elite athletes and pro sports athletes. It's common for special forces, military guys. They're able to just be like, I don't care that this is dangerous, right? And they just turn off that circuit and just push on through, and they don't mind the consequences. That's a pretty awesome ability. But for somebody who has a day job, maybe not the best choice to make when you're trying to rehab and strengthen your body. The other way people get tripped up is when they think that any sensation that feels even remotely uncomfortable is a sign of danger, and that is absolutely not a productive way to go about living your life. If you feel discomfort, but it doesn't feel dangerous, then you can keep working on it and staying away from that dangerous level. But don't interpret all discomfort, stiffness, quivering, even those little jamming, pinching sensations, don't interpret those to mean that you should not at all be trying to accomplish what's happening there. So I'll give you an example. If I am trying to get good hip flexion and I'm trying to lift my leg up high and it's uncomfortable, like it feels like a little jammy, but if I just lower it down a little bit, I can actually feel the muscles working, then I'm good. I can be here. I can work on it. I can put some weight on top of this. Let me show you actually. If I want to get stronger in hip flexion, maybe I'll just take a weight and start doing this, making sure I feel the muscles working and also that I don't feel like I'm just like pinching and jamming something, right? I can work on it within a range that feels like a challenge without getting to that feeling of being dangerous. But, if I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go so high and hard so that even if I feel jamming, I still do it so I can get those reps, then I'm gonna run into trouble. Okay, so the idea is to work within a challenging range. Don't go into the range that feels really clearly, obviously dangerous, and definitely don't do things super fast and hard, especially the first time. Listen to your body. And also, I have a video about not doing certain exercises fast. Go watch that video. I'm going to link it down below. Before I close this video with a few final thoughts, I want to say a big thanks to Michelle J and Teach Dance. I really appreciate your support of the Upright Health channel. And if you're watching this video right now and you'd like to support the channel, please click that thanks button down here on YouTube or use the PayPal link that I am sharing down in the description box. I really appreciate your support, but you are not obligated to leave me a tip. It's fine if you just click the like button and share this video with somebody you know who needs to watch it. And also, if you have a question that you want answered, go ahead and leave it in the comment section down below. So to summarize, we have signals from our body that we have learned over time to ignore. Your job, if you want to move right and feel right, is to learn how to understand these signals, listen to these signals, and interpret them in a productive way. Your job is to think right and not allow discomfort to get you trapped in fear. You want to learn how to gradually work with your body to expand your range, expand your strength, and build strength at every length. This is what I mean when I say think right, move right, and feel right. I hope you found this video really helpful, and I hope you will visit the links that I'm leaving in the description box down below to help you. I'm Matt Hsu from Upright Health, reminding you that pain sucks. Life shouldn't.